Clowns were created to entertain, so why do we find them so terrifying? Stephen King purposefully chose to have it take the form of a clown to terrorize children, because that's just the kind of guy he is. But since the box office is filled with clowns lately, we can't help but compare two of everyone's favorite scary clowns, the Joker and Pennywise. Sure, one's a shape-shifting extra-dimensional being, and the other's a mere mortal, but these two have a surprising amount in common. Before we get too distracted wondering if Batman could defeat Pennywise in a fight, let's take a look at all the things Pennywise and Joker have in common. Can we cue up the evil clown laughter? Thank you. Although they clearly watch different YouTube makeup tutorials to master their signature looks, Pennywise and Joker both have painted faces that make us cringe. But did you know that both characters owe their over-the-top appearances to real-life inspiration? Long before Joaquin Phoenix was dropping scary amounts of weight for the movie Joker, another screen clown was providing inspiration for comic book creators. The character design for this comic clown is based on actor Conrad Veidt, who played a man with a disfigured face in the 1928 silent film The Man Who Laughs, which would actually be a pretty good name for another Joker movie. Well, most people today probably haven't seen The Man Who Laughs. The source material for Pennywise is much more accessible. When Stephen King was trying to drum up the image of a crazy clown, he decided to base it on multiple pop culture clowns, so his readers would have a point of reference. It also makes sense that the kids who encounter Pennywise would compare his appearance to clowns they already know, including Ronald McDonald, Bozo the Clown, and Clarabelle the Clown. But just for good measure, Stephen King also threw in a little bit of notorious serial criminal John Wayne Gacy. We all know he was a terrible criminal, but was his clown act any good? Dressing up as a clown can definitely be scary, but the true terror of the Joker and Pennywise lies beneath the surface. Despite their frightening appearances, both characters are master manipulators. They see humans as means to an end and are able to manipulate them to suit their own needs. For evidence of the Joker's ability to trick people, just take a look at Harley Quinn. She was once a respected psychiatrist, but after the Joker sunk his claws into her, well, let's just say she's not practicing these days. Pennywise doesn't exactly take part in long-term manipulations like the Joker, but he frankly doesn't have to. When he wakes up from his ultra-long nap, all he wants to do is eat. Honestly, same here. He's able to manipulate children into getting close to him and then uses his ability to terrify them so they taste better. Do you think fear really makes people taste different, or is it a mental thing? Anyway, we've seen Pennywise show off his skills at luring children both in the books and movies, like when he convinces Georgie to reach into his spooky storm drain, or when it gets Victoria to walk behind the bleachers where no one can see by promising to rid her of her birthmark. Creepy! One of the hallmarks of both Pennywise and the Joker is that despite always having a smile on, they don't actually get along that well with others. And we're just not talking about victims. Obviously, there are some stark differences in personalities there. No, we're talking about how the Joker and Pennywise interact with their peers. And yes, even though Pennywise is a nightmare monster, he did at least have one, the great turtle Maturin. The two were on par in terms of power and longevity, but it wasn't very kind towards his brother. He made fun of him for being old, lazy, and stupid. That's really the pot calling the kettle black there, although in the book, Maturin did choke on a galaxy, so maybe he really wasn't that bright. Meanwhile, Joker's whole story revolves around the fact that he either can't or won't fit into society. And when he collaborates with his fellow villains, they don't get along for very long because he's just so easily irritated by other people. Pennywise and the Joker have nothing but disdain for pretty much everyone around them at all times, because it's definitely everyone else who are so unpleasant and not them, no. But a significant source of their fear and frustration come from those who are more powerful than they are. When it comes to the Joker, you know we're talking about Batman. In so many ways, the Joker is the perfect foil for Batman, because he thrives on disorder and chaos, while Batman is all about maintaining order. While the Joker throws out the rulebook, Batman picks it up and beats him over the head with it. The Joker also hates his true identity, Bruce Wayne. As one of Gotham fat cats, he continually rails against. In terms of superpowers, Pennywise is really hard to beat. Not only can he manipulate his victims using their worst fears, but he can also shapeshift into super strong creatures. But even his powers pale in comparison to Gan, the ultimate force in the Stephen King universe. Pennywise might be powerful, but there's definitely a being out there mightier than he is. And instead, he got defeated by some mere flesh and bone mortals using a fancy ritual. How embarrassing. Stephen King is great at a lot of things, but if we had to pick one thing he might be less than spectacular at, it might be brevity. The book It is over 1,000 pages long, and a lot of it is lore and world building. We aren't complaining, mind you, just saying there's definitely a lot of backstory in Pennywise's past. And you can probably imagine that the origin story of a shape-shifting monster is pretty complicated. It emerged from the void in the Macroverse. Not to be confused with our own universe. Was it created by Gan? Is it a demon elemental known as Twinner? Are there more It's lurking around out there? Even though he's a human, the Joker also has a complex origin story, mostly because there have been many different versions over the years. Sure, most of them involve falling into an OSHA standards violating vat of chemicals at some point, but there are a lot of them. Even the Joker can't keep them straight and often gives contradictory information about his own past. Don't worry, we're going to keep talking about what these two nightmare clowns have in common, but let's talk about one important distinction first. Both Pennywise and the Joker absolutely thrive on fear and chaos. It sustains them on a fundamental level, but the difference is that Pennywise literally feeds on it, while Joker does so in a more metaphorical sense. Pennywise is pretty much always eating or sleeping, and he does need to feed in order to survive. Let's not forget all the behind-the-scenes effort it expends to keep its prey within arm's reach. Even when it's sleeping, it manipulates the town using psychic means to keep people complacent and unaware so they don't leave. And when it's awake, it sees its food right there. It seems to thrive the crazier things get. The Joker may not literally devour people, but he absolutely thrives on fear and chaos. Why just bludgeon someone when you can bludgeon someone and blow their body up like a balloon? Say what you will about the Joker, but he does go the extra mile to make sure his crimes are terrifying and confuse people as much as possible. Can't fault him on his attention to detail or his passion for his work, that's for sure. Yes, both it and Joker are bad. We try to shy away from making definitive judgments on people, even fictional ones, but they're bad and we don't feel bad for saying so. But that doesn't mean they don't have their own sources of joy in their lives, and, well, they both really like dressing up as clowns. In the Joker movie, Arthur Fleck loves his job as a clown for hire. Sure, the pay is low, the hours are bad, most of his co-workers are jerks, and he gets beaten and robbed, but he just loves it. Actually, that may be the craziest thing about him. In other forms of media, Joker has always wholeheartedly embraced the whole clown circus aesthetic. He even makes over Dr. Harleen Quinzel into a clown. It can turn into literally anything at a moment's notice. But its favorite form is definitely Pennywise the Dancing Clown. This look is kind of like an ancient horror equivalent to a little black dress. It just goes with everything. It's a form people recognize, so it doesn't immediately incite panic, but when he wants to dial up the terror, it's all too easy. These two crazy characters may genuinely like appearing as clowns because many people consider them scary, but why is that? Just what is it about clowns that make so many people uneasy? Clowns have actually been creeping people out all throughout history. In many places throughout history, making fun of important people was a great way to end up in the stocks or worse. But clowns were allowed to mock even royalty. So while what they were saying might have been funny, people were caught in an uncomfortable situation regarding whether they were allowed to laugh or not. There's also been a darkness to many real-life clowns that both terrifies and fascinates us. Joseph Grimaldi is famous for popularizing traditional clown paint like Pennywise and the Joker use, but he lived a tragic life. He suffered under the hands of his father, lost his wife in childbirth, and his son didn't make it past 31 because of his joking. The clown Jean-Gaspard Dubourau took the life of a boy right in the streets because he was heckling him. Ironically, the history of clowns is pretty much anything but funny. They've been making people feel uncomfortable for thousands of years, and yet somehow they're still a thing. We know we're talking about fictional characters here, but the real actors put a lot of work into portraying them on the big screen. But let's talk about the most recent one, Joaquin Phoenix. He lost over 50 pounds to give Arthur Fleck that iconic gaunt appearance. Director Todd Phillips wanted the character to look wolf-like and malnourished. And we have to say he definitely nailed that aesthetic. He even researched the side effects of different medications to better understand what kind of physical and mental sensations Arthur would have been experiencing. Bill Skarsgard did have to put on a clown costume, but most of his research didn't involve going around the circus. One thing that really helped him get into the Pennywise mindset was to watch videos of hunters stalking their prey in nature. He found the hyenas particularly inspirational. Also, that creepy smile and those eye manipulations, those are all him. In addition to all of his other talents, he's apparently a pro at making weird faces. Embracing the predator aspect of their characters was something which went into both performances, and it definitely comes across when you watch Joker and the It movies. A clown may be their favorite form, but it's not the only one in their arsenal. Pennywise likes to figure out what scares its victims the most and then embody it. Would a Stanley head with spider legs coming out of it be as scary to someone who wasn't a member of the Losers Club? And let's not forget that when it goes after Bill, it frequently disguises himself as his little brother Georgie. It knows Eddie's afraid of germs and illness, so it looks like a leper when it approaches him. Joker may have to put a little more effort into his costume changes, but this is yet another way he's willing to go the extra mile. If he's gonna destroy Batman on a continuous loop, then he's gonna dress as an emperor when he does it. When he attacks Barbara Gordon in The Killing Joke, he even dresses up like he's a tourist on vacation. But as we all know, the Joker's work is really never done. Even though Pennywise and the Joker are pretty similar, we have to say Pennywise represents a level of terror and destruction the Joker can only dream of. What do you think about the comparison of these two characters? Tell us what you think in the comment section and then click on the subscribe button for more videos from us here at CBR. Bye for now.